Welcome back to Talkville. Folks, we did it. Holy crap, we are at the finale. But Talkville, the ultimate Smallville rewatch podcast. Each week we go back, we go way back. We watch the episodes, mostly that I didn't see, and we review them, and we critique them, and I get yelled at. And, this is a show we talk about that changed our lives. Maybe it changed your lives. Hopefully it's changing Ryan's life a little bit.
It is a little bit. It's making me rethink life as a 13 and 14-year-old.
Good. Welcome back, Ryan. Jason was here for him earlier, I think. Yeah, last week, right?
Last week, yeah.
Last week.
The COVID finally got
Sorry, Ryan, I got to tell you, Jason did a great job. He was a lot of fun.
He was.
Jason is a very chill dude, and he's very good at
this
his job.
now. He's seeing this now. He's very excited to hear what we think of him. He knows I love him.
We're really testing him out to replace me. That's really what we're doing.
We are at the season finale. Season 1 finale. Be sure, guys, if you're already here and you're watching, most likely you're addicted. You're with us for this ride. Hopefully it will last through 10 seasons. So join Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Talkville and thank you. And there's some nice perks there. Also, our socials are Talkville Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Talkville Podcast. And at Talkville Pod on the Twitter. Make sure you write reviews. It really helps the show. You write a review, it makes our rankings go up, all that stuff. And because we're at the finale, we're doing things a little differently this episode. We're going to break it up. We're going to break up this finale, guys, in a special two-parter. What do you think of that? This is a two-parter. This is part 1 of the finale. This week, we're discussing the episode like normal. And next week, we're going to have a highly anticipated guest and officially wrap up the first season of Smallville. So next week, join us for the second part of this finale. And without further ado, let's get into season 1, episode 21. This is Tempest. I'm excited to talk about it. I feel like when we were actually filming it, I was so excited that the season was over. That we could all relax. We can go on our merry ways. I can go to your wedding.
You weren't so upset about being in so many scenes because it was the final episode.
Yeah, I was like, whatever, man. It's a finale. Let's do it if we're going to do it. All right, episode review. Title is Tempest, aired May 21st, 2002. Director Greg B-Man, the B-Man. Writers Al Goff, Miles Miller. Story, Philip Levins. Guest star Robert Wisden as Gabe Sullivan, Chloe's father. Good to see him again. He didn't say much. And Tom O'Brien as Roger Nixon. Always good to see him. He's kind of a creepy character. I like him. Synopsis, Clark, Chloe.
Wait, two quick points. Yeah. One, seeing Chloe's father say something mattered a lot because he came across in the meeting that he has with Lex, with everybody. He comes across as a guy who's intelligent and has a spine. So that's great. And Roger Nixon, at this point in the season, when he shows up, something slimy is going to happen. So
something slimy.
2 great guest stars.
Clark, Chloe, and Pete get ready for the Smallville High Spring Formal. By the way, I never went to a dance. Never went to a high school dance ever. Did you, Tom?
I believe I think I went to 2.
You went to
I
prom.
left them, but I left them both early. Like it wasn't like
no. I didn't have a girl. I didn't go. No.
You didn't have a date.
No, I never went to a dance.
Got it.
Ryan?
Yeah, I went to all the dances. I mean, the school was small, but I didn't always have a date.
All right. Thanks.
I had a couple.
He had self-esteem though.
Lionel unexpectedly closes the Smallville plant and Lex plans an employee buyout. Roger Nixon threatens to expose Clark's powers. Whitney leaves for the Marine Corps. And Lana gets swept up in a tornado.
Just that little beat. The only thing that could surpass Whitney joining the Marine Corps is Lana being swept up in 3 tornadoes, by the way.
Oh my gosh.
Just a little note.
I
don't know if the 3
you,
combined in 1. I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah, 3 became 1. It became one big monster, okay. Size 5. A lot of things to cover, but I will start out by saying, boy, this is
what a great opening.
That's oh my God.
What a great opening.
Oh my God.
That little tilt down, tilt up, Lex Luthor Corp, helicopter. I always thought Lionel should have a better helicopter, but I'm sure that's a budget thing.
The only thing that bothered me, because I thought the opening was great with the helicopter and the thing and the... One thing that bothered me is that the sound wasn't great. We should have ADR'd that. Or I don't know. Did you mind that it was so raw?
I didn't catch it.
Oh, I didn't notice.
You didn't notice it. I just noticed there was everybody yelling, and it was like we used the real sound.
But there's a helicopter. There's a factory that's working. It's like when you do a scene where you're at a party and everybody's talking like this, and you're like, no, there's music. You got to promote. You got to not promote. You got to project.
You can project, but you could project with nothing going on, but you couldn't with the helicopter going. You couldn't just fake that and put it in later because the wind and all these other things.
I guess if you guys had like those headphones from the helicopter with the mic things, you could have talked normally.
Anyway, it was a great opening. I thought it was a little, I thought Lionel, we'll just get into it.
He was perfect.
He was great, but I just thought that he goes, as of now, great job. It's closed down. I don't think he would so messed up, isn't it?
That's the point.
I mean, that's pretty messed up. No one does that.
That is
Lionel
the point.
Luthor
He's so evil.
Later says to you in the episode, I will bury you and everybody else if you do that. Like he literally tells his son he's going to bury him. Of course he would do this at the beginning of the episode. He doesn't care about these people. It's a test run for you, Lex. Come on.
Yeah. It was great.
He's got to be that evil so Lex can be evil in the end.
Later on, yeah.
Yeah.
Open up on Lex Luthor, greeted by his father, Lionel, via helicopter. Lionel arrives to unexpectedly announce the closing of the Luthor plant, laying off 2,500 people in Smallville due to management failure. Lionel then tells him Smallville was not his home, Lex. It was only a training ground. At Smallville High, Pete, Clark, and Lana discuss the attire for the upcoming spring formal. Chloe interrupts them, upset about the Luthor Corp closing because her dad works there.
She's worried that she's going to go to Metropolis and climb the social ladder once again.
Oh, yes, Chloe. Clark goes home to discuss the closing with his parents, and Jonathan pins the failure on Lex, saying the road to hell was paved with good intentions. You know
what that means?
Yes.
A lot of people have good intentions and don't do anything the right way. That's why that happens. It's just intentions. It's just what I want to do. It's what I wish could happen.
Yeah. I felt bad again for Lex when Jonathan says that, because we see clearly that Lex is upset with what's going on. We see clearly he doesn't want to close the plant. He doesn't want this to happen. Yet Jonathan just says, oh yeah, it's like, it doesn't matter. You're a Luthor. He gets back to the old games of, Well, it's good frustration because the viewer knows the information that Jonathan doesn't know, which is that Lex is actually done right. Right. So you're informed as a viewer, which causes the frustration. A lot of good frustration moments in this episode. Yes. We then see Whitney surprising Lana with a super romantic picnic where he lets her know that he's leaving for the Marines in a few days, unbeknownst to her. Their convo ends with Whitney asking Lana to wait for him until he returns. So the best part about this scene, by the way, the worst part is he sets a picnic to say he's leaving. The best part is that Lana picks up, she thinks he's going to propose. That's what I got out of it. And she was not comfortable with that. No, she wasn't cool with that. She's like, whoa. And then he's like, no, not that. It's not that. So she actually gets the exact opposite. Yeah, thank God. She doesn't, do not ask me to marry you. Oh, you're going to the Marines. Side note, are high school students allowed to just leave mid-school year to enlist? Probably. It's a spring formal, right? They probably won't graduate, but no, they're going with the summer break. It's the end of the year. Yeah. Okay. Clark shows up at Luthor Manor to talk to Lex about the plant closing and gets sidetracked by the key to his spaceship sitting on Lex's desk. Because that's where you'd keep the key to the spaceship, right? Right on your desk. I also thought that in that non-locking mechanism, it's like a cigar cutter that you have in there. I thought the scene was played well where Clark didn't make too much of it. So that when he tells his parents, you're like, oh, he did see it. He did make the connection. Yeah. Because I didn't know if Clark knew what it was. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Oh, we'll get to all that. Back at Smallville High, Chloe tells Clark that she might be moving back to Metropolis because of the plant closing. That night at Luthor Manor, Lex invites the plant's senior management over for a secret meeting to try and organize an employee-led buyout. Sorry. Which I thought was a cool idea. Yeah, reassuring them that he'll front 90% of the acquisition cost. Clark goes to the town, catches up with Lana about Chloe leaving, and Lana relates with Whitney leaving for the Marines. The next day, Clark is installing fence posts by hand on the farm. I really like that. That was cool looking. Yeah. Yeah. How do they do that? Was there just a hole already there? Can't tell you. No. I was like, this is cool. Yeah.
It
dramatic.
it goes back to when we were like, splitting the wood with the hand and stuff. We had some great special effects guys. And I slightly remember them saying just like the ground didn't look open, but there was already a hole there. They say, just lift it up and throw it in there. And then they added a little smoke after. And there was, I just
very effective.
I just got to play the frustration, which was great. And which was a great lead up to what happens next.
When he goes to get back in his truck to drive off, the truck suddenly explodes into a ball of flames. He gets out unscathed aside from his shirt. And we see an on-looking Roger Nixon with a detonator. What a creep. This guy thinks, but what if he was wrong?
What a messed up thing to do on a hunch.
Yeah, this Roger Nixon's a Dixon.
Roger Dixon.
Jeez.
You'd think he would have started with like Clark Catch and like somehow, Clark like catches something he didn't see coming. No, let's just explode the truck he gets into.
Was there something on your chest? Was there like an S almost carved out?
Oh, they might have done that.
I didn't know.
I thought I saw that. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, they might have done that.
Lionel shows up at Luthor Manor to check up on his son and convince him to accept his fate. But Lex pushes back and tells him of his plans for a buyout. Lionel's one step ahead and shows Lex that he owns Smallville Savings and Loan, threatening to foreclose on the employees involved in the coup.
Veteran move, by the way. This surprised me a little bit.
Yeah.
Just when Lex thought he had the upper
He's always
hand.
one step ahead of Lex, isn't he?
Yeah.
Lexus thinks he's one step ahead of everybody except his father, who's always one step ahead of him. Just like when he did with the girl, what's her name, that was trying to
and try to get Sir John or whatever his name was. Yeah.
Sir Henry.
Sir Henry, yeah.
Yeah.
Sir John
At
Henry.
Smallville High, Chloe expresses her fear that she'll be forgotten by Clark after she leaves, but he reassures her that it won't happen with a kiss on her cheek, which Lana sees.
Something I got out about this Clark Chloe relationship was like I saw two people who were really good friends who were really trying to see if there was something more behind it. And I think that happens in high school sometimes. You're trying to figure out how you feel about someone or, like, oh, I really get along with you. Maybe this is love. Maybe.
Don't make me bring up that story about Laura Paris on the phone where I thought she was talking about me, but it was the other guy. Remember that? You remember that, Ryan?
I think
Remember,
so.
she's like, I like this guy.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what to. And it wasn't me. At the town later that day, Roger Nixon questions Clark about the explosion. Clark plays dumb, of course, and Lex intervenes, making subtle threats against the Inquisitor, Nixon's employer. Clark goes home and tells his parents that he has been compromised by Nixon. Jonathan tells Clark to carry on like everything is normal, and then Clark drops a bomb that Lex has a piece of his spaceship. And of course, Roger Nixon is listening in on their conversation. I like that. When he's listening to that conversation, I was like, that's good writing. That's like, I wasn't expecting that. Boom, outside, headphones on, the crackling and I thought that was pretty dope, man. I was in. I was like, all right, I'm in.
It really started heating up here.
Yeah, it went slow burn. It's cool. I'm in. And then I'm fucking in. The next day, Roger shows up to Luthor Manor, stealing the spaceship piece and then telling Lex that he has a juicy story surrounding the Kents and the meteor shower. And Lex did not like that.
I did like the way that you played Lex in this scene where you kept reminding him and ultimately saying, you're playing a very dangerous game here. And I felt like Lex knew the stakes and Nixon didn't. Like Nixon was just playing. He was a fish out of water, but he was going to keep swimming.
And he didn't understand that Lex really feels for the Kents and wants to not be, investigating them. And he gave his word and he doesn't want anybody doing this. And I also remember I didn't want it to seem like I was that interested in what he was saying. Like I didn't want to say like, oh, really? Like I could have played it a little more like, all right,
tell me more.
But like that wouldn't work. I had to be more like, no, stop it. We've done enough of this. There's nothing there. I don't want you investigating him. You better have something because this is ridiculous. But it was a good scene. Talkville is brought to you by Policy Genius. Tom, I don't know if why would someone not have life insurance?
I mean, I have a family, so it's an obvious choice for me to get the best quote possible to support my family. I mean, that sounded cheesy, but it's true. You got to take care of the people, because what happens if something bad happens?
Yeah, God forbid something happens, you want your family to be taken care of. So it's very important. We all hope we never need life insurance, but mortgage payments, childcare, and other expenses don't disappear when you're gone. Life insurance through your workplace may not offer enough protection for your family's needs, and it won't follow you if you leave your job.
Yeah, since life insurance typically gets more expensive as we age, now is the time to buy. Policy Genius gives you a smarter way to find and buy the right coverage for you and your family.
Policy Genius was built to modernize the life insurance industry. Their technology makes it easy to compare life insurance quotes from top companies like AIG and Prudential in just a few clicks to find your lowest price.
With Policy Genius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $17 per month with $500,000 of coverage.
And Policy Genius has licensed agents who can help you find options that offer coverage in as little as a week and avoid unnecessary medical exams. They're not incentivized to recommend one insurer over another, so you can trust their guidance.
There are no added fees, and your personal info is always private.
No wonder they have thousands of 5-star reviews on Google and Trustpilot.
Your loved ones deserve a financial safety net. You deserve a smarter way to find and buy it. Head to policygenius.com or click on the link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save. That's policygenius.com.
The day of the spring formal, Clark is struggling with the bow tie, but good thing Lex Luthor shows up to lend a hand. Lex then vents about his relationship with Lionel, and it's built on lies and deceit, but luckily his relationship with Clark is not. I thought that was very good writing. Again, very ironic. You know, it's like you're looking at something, it's like, yeah, you're playing into this thing. Oh, our friendship is this and this, but we know what it's inevitably going to become.
Well, I also saw I think between the two of us, what I saw was your character, I think 3 times basically says the same thing. No matter what happens, we're going to be friends. And Clark just is like, sure, sounds great. You know,
yeah.
It's just it's everything that wasn't being said.
Yeah,
was what that scene was about.
Before Whitney leaves for the Marines, he takes Lana into the gymnasium, decorated for the formal, and the two share a sweet goodbye dance. It was a very pretty scene.
Dude, this guy's like, by the way, let me make you a beautiful picnic. I'm joining the Marines. My bus leaves in an hour. Let's go see the party. You know, it's just like, I think it was on purpose that it was just like, like you just want to be like, the whole time, every choice.
I got some information here. I don't know if I'm allowed to share.
By the way, the gym looked great. And Remy Zero coming up next. Was that Lex Luthor's cousin singing in that scene?
It might have been. I think it was.
I wonder if that's why they chose the band.
Chloe picks up Clark for the dance, and the two arrive at Smallville High as the storm continues to get worse. It was very good effects, the wind, everything.
So Allison did something very sweet here, which I forgot about. But when I saw the episode, I remember twice. In the torch at the end of a scene, she goes and she takes something off of Clark's shirt right at the end. And then later, after we get through the wind, she does the same sort of thing to Clark. She just touches him up a little bit, showing that she cares. And that's no way that was written. That was Allison pinning herself to the character's reaction. I thought that was a great acting move. Yeah. Great choice.
Chloe picks up Clark for the dance, and the two arrive at Smallville High as the storm continues to get worse. As they enter, Lana and Whitney are leaving to drop him off. Whitney has a moment with Clark and asks for him to watch out for Lana while he's gone. I think that was the dumbest thing of the episode. That just didn't make any sense to me. That was like, it was like, first of all, it's almost like saying, listen, I know you want to F my girlfriend, so I'm asking you to be a good guy and just take care of her so you feel guilty. He's either doing that or he just really take care of her, which is stupid because he knows that Clark has a crush on her. It's obvious.
It was good awkwardness. I mean, it was awkward all the way around, and you just have Clark being the good guy again. You know, it was very awkward. Very awkward. And then he says to Chloe, like, this just guy stuff. You look great tonight.
Yeah, just guy stuff. We side note here, we see Pete show up with a red bow tie, but because Clark switched to his to black, he doesn't have to worry about the two of them matching.
Yeah, but before Pete was going to change his. I was just nice to see Pete with a date.
Lana leaves Whitney. Yeah, she was a pretty girl. Good for him. At the drop off, Lana leaves Whitney her meteorite necklace, and the two say goodbye. While this is all going on, it's weird because she runs out of the car and gives him this French kiss and this big dramatic kiss. And it's like, you see that she does love Whitney. She does have feelings for him. But then there is Clark, but ultimately it looks like you don't know because she saw you guys kissing in the hallway, even though it was a little, so maybe she's like sort of given up. Maybe Clark's moved on. Maybe Whitney's on. There's a lot of things to think of here.
Well, I mean, the fact that you have all those thoughts going on means they did a good job.
Exactly. And also she's kissing him maybe because like he's in the Marines. He could die. Something could happen. Oh. So it might be the last time I'm seeing him. So I want him to know that I really care about him. A lot of things. Not
to be a complete downer, but don't forget that this is earlier in this season, 9/11 happened. So
good call. Good.
There you go. That's probably why
there's something over good this writing. Of him going away, even though it's not said. There, you get a little chill from it.
Jeez, man, I wish every episode was written like the pilot and the finale.
Well,
I mean, it would be like, honestly, if you just had, like, again, if we had streaming,
2 episodes a year,
if you had 8 to 10 episodes, they could have done something like that. And it could have been that. Then the show could have been, then on these rankings of best shows, we would have been on there. But since it's a network show, they don't give you as much credit. And we did 22 a year, and they compare us to other shows that were like 22, like Buffy and these. But if we did 10 episodes a year, that show was groundbreaking.
There's also a flip side is because you're on CW, which is like maybe a 5th or 6th network, you're not reaching all the homes that the top 4 are. So you can't be compared to their numbers. They're going to reach 4 times as many homes as CW. So your ratings can't be judged against that. So does that make any sense? So
it does.
It's also I also think that Smallville, I don't know if it would be a 22 episode show now. I mean, we'll never know.
No,
I mean, Arrow and all those went.
Yeah, who knows? But it's funny. I remember them trying to get me an Emmy nod.
Yeah.
For the season 1, I believe. Yeah, I remember them trying to get, and I was like, I remember going, it's the CW. There's no fucking way this is going to happen.
Did you get an FYC billboard on
No, I
Sunset?
ended up winning a Saturn Award, which thank you for the Saturn Award. My friends were like, what's next? The Uranus Award? I'm like, shut up!
Which one's the Saturn Award?
It's a good award. Saturn Award's a great award. It's like sci-fi outstanding actor and I don't know.
You have to realize when you're watching a show that like Smallville and CW aside, the editing is so good and the visual effects and special effects are so good that that's going to take the attention.
Precedence.
There's no chance for a performance to blossom to really gain attention because it's edited the way it is.
Also, I will say this. When I was watching it last night, a few of my friends came over because we have horror movie nights. So they were there when I was watching towards the end of it, the last 30 minutes. And they were like, oh my gosh. And like
you're watching your own show.
What's funny, I know, but I told them I have a podcast. And then they were also like, my friend Nick, big horror guy, he's like, dude, I've seen every episode. I love the show. I watched it all the time. And he was like, he brought up something that was pretty interesting. He said, dude, the turnaround. So if you're looking at effects and you're like, oh, the effects weren't always great, or this wasn't, imagine them having to turn this around in 2 weeks or a couple of weeks. They didn't have like a movie has months to do effects, and they had no time. We have to get the music and all these things done. They had no time. It is really brilliant if you think like that.
Yeah,
effects take forever to render. So you just have to let it like the computer like do its thing overnight. Like if you're doing that in 2000, like I can't imagine how long that would take.
Yeah. While this is all going on, Roger Nixon sneaks into the Kent storm cellar to see the spaceship. I don't know why they have it just right there in the open, though. That was a little weird, but I let it go. While in there, he places the key he has stolen into its rightful place, causing the ship to start up and levitate.
Well, the key found its own spot.
The key did. The key, found its own. It was like, it's calling. It's like, give me that. That's what I've been waiting for. While chaos ensues outside, the students of Smallville High are getting down to some Remy Zero inside the gymnasium. Maybe we'll have them on next year.
I think you should.
I think we should.
I want to hear about their story.
Yeah, I want to hear that because they became millionaires from that show. That show bought them houses. I love it.
You could jam out with Sunspin.
Yeah, I can never. People always ask me to sing that song. It's too high. It's too high.
Dude,
I can't sing it.
How about the second song they sing?
They're great. They were really talented. I couldn't do that. Clark requests Chloe's favorite song, and the two share a dance. On her drive home, Lana gets herself caught near the violent winds from the tornado. A flying fence post hits her car and causes her to crash off the side of the road. Great effects. Really cool. Got a little cheesy with the car and the tornado. Looked a little hokey, but back then I'm sure it was a lot better. But for the most part, great shit there. Great shit.
I think there's one shot that they missed, which I think would have helped. When she's looking at the tornado outside, she's going, I gotta have to get in the truck, and she turns and she runs, and all you see is her back getting into the truck. Ken Horton, who's one of our executive producers and basically cut the show,
he's great.
Always said to me, you never want to see you always want to see a character coming at you. You never want to see a character running away for more than a shoulder turn. And I think that they missed a beat there where if she was looking there and they would have cut her getting back in the truck right away, would have kept that going. Because there was just a slight, I don't know.
Too long on her back.
Yeah.
I hear you. It didn't bother me, but I hear you. The Kents go seek refuge in their storm cellar. Perfect. And they catch Roger Nixon
which is open
with the spaceship. It's open, Jonathan notices. And Jonathan, I like to see the old cowboy, old Johnny Schneider, roughs up Roger Nixon, and Roger flees the cellar. Instead of staying safe underground, he rushes outside to catch Roger, leaving Annette O'Toole, Mama Kent there, terrified, seeing the tornado going nuts out there with the winds all high.
And then don't miss the spaceship starts doing something a little fun.
And her reaction to the spaceship was awesome. Perfect. And you remember, you don't know what you're looking at. And that's in post. So she's giving them everything like, oh my.
That her looking up, again, going back to like the BE episode, she's the best part of that. You know what I mean? Like she's just great.
She's brilliant. She'll be on next year, guys. Don't worry. Next season, she's going to be coming in. We're going to get other guest stars. The spring formal gets stopped by an announcement that everyone must stay inside the gym as the storm rages outside. Clark hears this and he's concerned for Lana's safety. Chloe tells him that she'll probably be fine and she'll call to confirm. She goes to make the call. Clark flees. And she turns to find her date gone. Consistent occurrence this season.
That could have been a little bit better. That was you could see where Clark got away. I think as the series goes on, we get better at those, yeah. Jason Bourne does that great thing in the first Jason Bourne where he crosses the street and a bus passes and he disappears. And it literally looks like there's no way he could have done it. But the suspension of disbelief allows you to like think it's cool. They could have done that with Clark a little bit. And I think we get better at that as the series goes on.
Did they do a shot? Maybe they did. But
no, they just panned with Chloe. And then she thought she heard something which the audience doesn't see.
Yep.
And she turns around and they go like this. And it's like, well, obviously he just took 3 steps away.
Yeah. It wasn't as impactful as it could have been.
It's all Beeman's fault.
Yes. At Luthor Manor, Lex is tearing apart his office, searching for the spaceship key, convinced Roger Nixon stole it. While this is happening, Lionel barges in to antagonize his son some more, and Lex tells his father that he is forging a new destiny free from him. Now, I remember this scene for one reason only, and I think I've told the story. I couldn't get it. I was throwing things off the shelves, and I was just trying to be aggressive and this and that, and John's giving his lines, and I just couldn't connect. I didn't know what was happening, and we did a couple takes, and I said, guys, I need 5. I don't.
And John seems so confident.
And the crew is looking at me like, Rosenbaum never, what is it? Wow, he needs 5? Oh, he's usually fun. He never cares. He just nails it. I don't know. And I don't think I was embarrassed. I just was like upset with myself that I couldn't get it. And John.
Well, you're also working with somebody who can dance better than anybody.
Yeah, but
you can't just like, if you just go at him, he's going to deflect. Like it's like boxing, right?
Yes.
He's just going to like parry what you're doing. And so you can't win, but it works in the scene because Lex is just like trying to get there.
But the problem was he's just looked at me and goes, hey, no, it's okay, Michael. And I go, yeah, I don't know what's going on. And he goes, let me, are you listening to what I'm saying? I'm just,
that's where that comes from.
And I go, oh my effing Lord. Guys, I'm ready. Let's go. I just wasn't listening. Yeah. I wasn't listening to his dialogue. I was worried about my dialogue and the scene and the action and being aggressive. Always listen. Everything else will come naturally if you just listen. And the key to acting, the one thing you always learn from every acting teacher, coach, mentor, if they are good, is listen. Listen.
Sorry, what'd you say?
Listen. Linda, listen. Listen, Linda. No, Linda, listen. Listen, baby, honey. Remember that?
By the way, so many characters in so many stories of television and film are only trying to get the other person to listen to them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Such is life.
Nobody. A lot of the if you watch a lot of the shows, they're not listening. They're looking at the camera like almost like a mirror. Like, how do I look? How do I this? There's some that are good. There's some that listen. You could tell are really. But there are a lot that just kind of like, I'm learning my lines, I'm looking pretty, I'm beautiful. Lionel makes more threats against Lex and the people of Smallville while the storm causes windows to shatter in Lex's office. That kind of made me go, whoa, that was badass. That effect with the glass.
Because it was all practical, or at least majority of it. It was they actually destroyed the mansion, and then you get to Lex with his eye, which I think has something to do with the future. And it's like,
man.
Yeah, does it? I was like, that has to mean something.
No, I don't know.
Is that the same eye with the patch? Doesn't Lex?
No,
have
he
a
doesn't
patch
have a
at some
patch.
point?
He has a glove. Remember his hand?
Oh, I thought
It's the glove.
No, I'm an idiot. Cut that. Part,
Maybe I'm
guys.
wrong, guys. Tell us. I should know
I
this.
thought that Lex had a patch somewhere. Maybe I saw it.
I don't think he has a patch.
cartoon
Look
or
online,
something.
Ryan. Does Lex Luthor have a patched eye? I don't think an eye patch.
I'm gonna Google Lex
And I
Luthor
think he gets
eye.
the bloody eye from the thing that falls on him, not the.
Or maybe it
glass.
was a
Maybe it
biblical
was.
thing. Something about an eye for an eye. I don't know.
I don't think it's an eye.
There's got to be a reason why they chose to mess up your eye, because that's a very not
specific.
normal
Was it?
I
thing
agree.
to
Yeah,
do.
I don't think it was. I think it was random and it just wanted to make me look badass.
but like they would have given you like oh, he bumped his head. Like they would have given you one of those.
Cut.
It was it was
Yeah.
like your eye.
They took
I
away
don't
your
know.
vision, or at least one eye of your vision for a reason. We have to ask Al.
Lex
'Cause
Luthor,
I think
future
no one
Luthor
else ever-
eyepiece, according to DC Universe Online, future Luthor eyepiece is a rare style item in the. I don't know what this means. That's the game. Never mind.
Okay, the bookcase crashes into Lex and pins Lionel down under a falling pillar. As Lionel sits under a ceiling beam ready to impale him, he calls out for his son's help, who stares at him, contemplating what to do. Boy, was that just... I don't know what it was, man, but I mean, I'm not saying, oh, I was great. I'm just saying the look on my face was kind of haunting. I was like, holy shit.
It was such a good setup. I mean, this is what, 40 seconds after he says he's going to kill you.
Yeah.
And then he's like, help me.
Lex, son. And
Yeah.
I'm just blood dripping down my face, shot looking up at me. Great job beaming with the camera looking up at me. That's power. That's how you show a power shot, right? Especially if you think about the opening of the episode is the power shot with Lex, right? They had the overhead with the helicopter, but then they had below looking down on me with the power, and then having it on top, kind of taking away that power as he flies off. And then at the end, he gets that power again. He's like, I have the power to kill you, you son of a bitch. What movie is that from? Smile, you son of a bitch. Jaws. All this time, instead of running for safety, Lana hunkers down inside her crash truck as the tornado rushes towards her. Clark super speeds to the scene and witnesses her car being engulfed by the tornado, lifting her into the air. As she screams for Clark, he rushes in. We get left with a shot of the tornado and the words, "To be continued."
So I don't know about anybody else. I'm watching this episode. I'm actually watching it with my 1.5-year-old son who loves Remy Zero now. He was like wiggling around watching it. And it was so cute. And we're watching it, and I get caught up. We had the Lex Lionel thing. Clark is there. Lana gets picked up, tornado. Clark rushes in, and I'm like, and it says to be continued. And I was pissed. I forgot it was to be
Me
continued.
too. I thought it was a whole episode. I
so
forgot. I
pissed
didn't know it was a two-parter.
I was so mad.
They really left you. Ryan, how did you feel?
I was mad too. I mean, I was thinking about how I would have felt in May of 2002 watching that live and then seeing the to be continued. I mean, it's gonna bring people back, but I wonder what the actual audience response was. Like, were they mad or were they like super stoked to like keep watching?
I will
or what?
say this. This is why.
Because they had to wait a whole freaking year.
But this is why TV has sort of become cliffhangers at the end of every episode. This is the kind of you have to watch the next one. And so if you that's why I was like, we got to get into more of that To me, you have to have something at the end of every episode that makes you go, oh, I gotta come back. And like I just felt like in a lot of episodes, because it was network, it was this, there weren't a lot of cliffhangers. And this you wanted to see what happens.
This was such a big one, though.
Big one.
But I wonder if, I don't know, was it too big of a cliffhanger? Because
I loved it. Boy, did
I was pissed. I mean, listen, there's other shows that I watch myself, and it aggravates me so much that, especially if I have to wait 3 months to watch the show again or something, I'm just throwing things and.
Do you know what I did? I ended up watching the first 10 minutes of the next episode. I had to.
Did you?
I had to. And I'm not like that. I had to do it. Even my friends were like, what happens? I'm like, well, let's watch a little bit of it. So interesting things of note. Ryan James' prediction in the episode Stray, the little boy, of Chloe's pink formal dress proved to be true.
Oh.
Never would have even thought of that.
I forgot.
When Lana gives Whitney her meteorite necklace, he says, I won't lose it this time. This is a reference to the pilot where Whitney lost the necklace while tying Clark up in the scarecrow prank.
Yeah, he didn't lose it. He put it on somebody else, jerk.
This is Eric Johnson's last regular appearance as Whitney Fordham, as a regular. This is the first season and the first episode to finish with the credits to be continued. The TV spot for this episode originally titled it No Warning, something that was later presumably changed. So this is a storyline that Craig from KryptonSite.com, this was something that he sent, and Bryce and I read it, and I sent it to Al, and Al confirmed that Craig was probably right. This is really interesting. When Clark sped off from the dance, you can go to KryptonSite.com to see more, Pete was going to see him speeding away, learning his secret.
Oh.
Whitney was going to die in the tornado. I think it was something like Clark could only save Lana or Whitney, and he saved Lana.
Oh, that they never made it to the bus? They were on the way to the bus station?
So the guilt of not being able to save both and Lana losing her boyfriend would fuel drama in season 2.
Oh, it's like that thing from The Dark Knight.
Whoa.
Yeah. You had to choose.
Maggie Gyllenhaal.
That's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy. This was just a great episode all around. Yeah. I mean, I was impressed.
It's at least impressed. 2 roses.
Oh my gosh. I think to me, we can't give the roses yet. That's going to be the next episode. The part 2, you'll hear our all that stuff. You'll hear Ryan's favorite scene in part 2, and with a special guest, which you'll have to wait to see. You're going to love this guest. You've been waiting for this guest. But before we do that, all right, now it's time for the hotline. These are your questions. We're going to start out with patron privilege. These are the folks that really help the podcast. They give back. They keep us alive. Patreon.com/talkville. They're the first 3 questions. Thomas T, Garrett W, and Michael P. Then we'll go to some voice mails, so we see the videos first. But what's the number for the hotline?
Well, the hotline number is 213-538-2883. It's 213-538-2883.
There you go. And this is the end of the season. This is the finale, but make sure you leave questions for the beginning of next season. Now, for the next few episodes, make sure you call that number. Leave them short. Make them short. Here we go. We're going to start out with the hotline. Thomas T.
Hey, my name's Tom from Niagara Falls, Canada, and I have a question about the season 1 finale, Tempest. When you guys are at the school dance, the band playing is Remy Zero, and they even do the theme song for the show. I was just wondering, what was that like? What was shooting with them? Did they know they had such a hit theme song in their repertoire? And yeah, just thank you guys for this great first season of Talkville. Can't wait for season 2.
They had to know by the series season finale that the show was getting pretty damn big. It was the biggest show Warner Brothers had ever had, so they had to know that their song was pretty popular.
They wouldn't have been there otherwise.
Yeah, if it was some dud.
Not the float around boat, but I will tell you that they weren't there for very. They weren't there.
That's not the phrase.
What is it?
Well, toot your own horn.
Whatever floats
your boat.
The same thing.
I love it. That's amazing. I do that same shit. I screw up those things.
I don't mean to float her on boat.
Whatever, toot your hoot. But go ahead.
I remember they didn't really want to be there. Like they wanted to kind of do 2 or 3 takes and walk off and get in their tour bus and leave. And I will say this: I said something. I was joking around that was all Greg Beeman's fault. Clark's disappearance during the dance. But what if you were given 8 hours to shoot that whole dance sequence, 75% of all that is getting your wide shots. And then they rush in and they're like, hurry up and say your dialogue, hurry up and say your dialogue, and then they move on. It's so chaotic. It's a circus. So I take that back what I said about Greg because he's a genius. But I can tell you that Remy Zero is sort of like, we're here and we're leaving soon.
We're rock stars.
Like, yeah.
I'm going to talk to him when we have them on. I'm going to ask him about that. Here we go. Here's Garrett, another patron who I love.
Hey guys, this is Garrett from Wisconsin, from the Smallville Forever fan club. My question is for Tempest, the season finale of Smallville. At what point in time did you know that Smallville is getting picked up for a season 2? I mean, I know the tornado scene cliffhangers, and we maybe find out what happens on the other end, beginning of season 2. But at what point in time did you know that Smallville is going to be picked up for another season? Thanks so much.
All right. So here's the honest answer. We didn't. You don't know until about 3 weeks before the next season starts. But I will say this to any other actor who's part of a TV series. When you find out that your series finale or your season finale is ending in a to be continued, there's a good chance because there's two. Well, I didn't know it at the time. Nobody told me this, but I can tell you that the writers and creators either have 2 versions or 1 version. The 1 version is to be continued and the other one is maybe it's not. But we should have known. I think we all kind of were planning on it, but the actual physical, the financial binding agreement doesn't take place till a couple weeks before you start the next season.
Do you think they write it to be continued to save their own ass and say like, well, we have to now? Do you think that's part of it or not?
I think they want that one to win because they want the show to continue. I think it's a fight with the studio mostly because studio doesn't always want to tell you because the minute they tell you you're picked up, then they have to start paying everybody again.
Yeah. Here we go.
So it's
Michael,
like a
last patron and then some voicemails.
Hey all, it's Michael Piccioni from College Station, Texas. Here we are with Tempest, the Smallville and Talkville season 1 finale. So congratulations there. This episode was filled with so many special effects and props. It had me wondering, you guys had to have taken home something from the set, right? Again, congratulations on the Talkville milestone.
We could easily tell you that answer. Tom, no. Me, yes. I always took shit home. I have.
And thank you for the compliments. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I have shit. Tom doesn't. I have.
Nobody took home the spaceship piece?
You know what I'll do is next season.
I have the spaceship in my cellar.
Next season, Tom, I'm going to bring 1 artifact per episode.
Show and tell?
I have probably at least 10 things that I could bring on consecutively, different things that I've kept from the Smallville set.
Can you imagine when I was dating my wife and I was like, hey, check this out. Check out this spaceship I stole from this TV show. It was on.
Oh my gosh. I'd love to have that spaceship. That spaceship.
I know you would.
That'd be dope, man. I'd have it in my basement. All right, here we go. Here's Craig.
You probably sleep in it.
Take it easy. It wouldn't fit. It was for a baby.
Hey guys, this is Craig from Roseville, Michigan. I want to say thanks for Smallville Nights last year in Detroit for the 20th anniversary. My wife and I had a great time. And my question is actually for Tom. The scene where Roger Nixon blows Clark up. I was curious. It looks pretty good. I thought maybe that they'd let you do the stunt walking out of the car with the fire on the jacket. I was just curious if that was actually you or not, or if it was another one of those great stuntmen you guys had. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that was me. Yep.
You liar, was not. Thanks, buddy.
That was me.
Thanks, Craig. It was a great stunt.
Hi, my name is Kara, and I'm from Tampa, Florida. And this is for episode Tempest, the season 1 finale. Do you think Clark truly had feelings for Chloe? And was it ever discussed behind the scenes for them to have a romantic relationship on the show? Thanks, guys. Excited to get into season 2.
I mean, I wish I could give you some big conclusive synopsis. I think that there was always a possible chance of them being together. But like Michael said an episode or 2 ago, you've never bought it. Yeah, I think it was just a really good friendship. And Maybe one like the other a little bit more, but I think it's high school kids trying to figure out their emotions.
I think what happens is they became friends. We saw them through all of season 1 mostly as friends, and so that's how you see them now. There was always something with Lana, so you don't really see. I don't know, but that's what I see as a viewer. Ryan, would you agree?
But going back to what I said briefly earlier in this episode, Allison's acting choice of, tending to Clark's appearance was something fresh and new, which I thought was a good move once again.
Yeah. Here we go. This is Neil. Oh, Neil.
Hey guys, this is Neil calling from Brooklyn, New York, and my question is about the season 1 finale, Tempest. After you shot this final episode, how did it feel to have completed an entire year of television, and what did you each do to celebrate the accomplishment? Thanks a lot. Bye.
I'll tell you what I did. I took advantage of being on a hit show, and I really did. I was just talking to my friends at this last night. I said, the way I've always looked at things is, I'm lucky to be here. I don't know if this will ever happen again. I could be fired tomorrow. This could be my last show. Who knows what could happen?
No wonder you have so much anxiety.
I know, but what I do is what's good is I take advantage of perks. For instance, Warner Brothers would hook me up since I was on Smallville, and the fact that I was on this hit show, Disney World would give me like 6 free suites at Disney World, at the Animal Kingdom, or wherever it was.
That's a big deal. That's a very expensive gift.
2 tour guides for 3 straight days with 20 members of my family.
Dude, that's like $40,000.
Dude, and then I would do it often, like every year. They flew me to England with my brother and put me up in suites, and France with my friend Chris. I remember Chris. I mean, it was a magical time. I mean, it was like, I remember getting
I never got one invitation to do any of this, just so you know.
But I looked into it.
Oh, okay.
I would be proactive. I remember.
You're right. I kind of just disappeared.
You know,
I just wanted
to break, and you're like, you didn't have time for this shit. But you know what I remember the most? I thought it was a really cool moment. And obviously I wasn't that big, but we were, it was kind of a big show. I was in France with Chris McDonald, my friend Chris, not the white Chris McDonald. This is my friend Chris, who's black. But Chris McDonald is
I love Chris.
Well, Chris is the white guy from Happy Gilmore, and that's not him.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I just wanted to be clear.
Okay. I see.
He's Shooter McGavin.
Gotcha.
So if you Google it,
right,
there's a distinction.
So we get to the Louvre, and we come out of the Louvre, and I am bombarded. I mean, like something. I was like, "What is going on?" And Chris looked at me, and goes, "Man, Rosenbaum, you're like Elvis." And I go, "Whoa!" And it was bedlam. It was hundreds of people. One person goes, "Oh my God, oh my God." And then there's just one after another, after a mob scene. And the security guard, Chris goes, "Security, excuse me, can you help us?" And he noticed, and he came over and asked for an autograph. He didn't even help. But it was something that you could only dream of as a kid. You're like, I can't believe this is happening right now. And
you're not ready for it. You can't prepare for it. You don't expect it.
And I don't expect it to happen again. It's great when we go to cons and we have fans and things like that. It was a magical moment that I was like, I can't believe the kid from Indiana who never got laid, who was the shortest kid in his high school, people are paying attention to him. It was just kind of like a surrealistic moment, and I will never forget that.
It's too bad you didn't go to school in France.
It wasn't like that here. I wasn't as bombarded. Yeah, that's true.
You know why? Because your character's French translation was probably right on.
Oh yeah, the guy who dubbed it.
Rosenbaum, you're like Elvis. Ask Chris about it. It was hilarious. How did you feel at the end of season 1 of such a successful show, Tom?
I think I was just ready to leave and take a break. I mean, I don't mean to be Debbie Downer, but just done.
No one worked like you. No one.
I pretty much, the day that we would finish shooting, my car would already be packed, and I would already be driving away.
Yeah.
Like I
would barely.
There wasn't
talk
much
to Tom
celebration. Maybe there should have been, to be honest. Maybe looking back, I should have celebrated, but I didn't.
But you know what you're doing now? You're celebrating now as you go to these cons.
That's true.
And we do these Smallville nights, which we do. We see how much love there is, and you did experience it. You have it. You're experiencing it now.
Yep, I think you're right.
Here we go. This is Kenny. Kenny.
Hello there. This is Kenny, a fellow patron from California. My question is for the episode Tempest, the season finale. Anybody or all can answer this. How do you feel Clark Kent and Lex Luthor have developed since the season premiere? We see till now they have gone through a lot of things, so I was just wondering what your thoughts were so far for season 1. Thank you.
You know, it's funny because aside from the bow tie scene, we don't get to see them together again, and it's really just up in the air. I think they both want to believe in each other. I think that's how it's left.
Yeah. I think there's definitely sort of, it ebbs and flows. And I think that right now it's like we're building this friendship. You could still see that Tom or Clark wants to believe in Lex. He believes in Lex. He's telling everybody who doesn't believe in Lex that you're wrong. I know this guy. And like I said, it's the moment in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Did you ever see the Fast Times at Ridgemont High? There's a moment when the nerdy guy, the short nerdy guy, and the cool Italian guy, that guy, and he says to him, I forgot his name in the movie, but he goes, they say that one guy, he's a jerk. And I'm like, you don't know him. And I'm like, no, they say he's a real dick. He's really mean. And I'm like, you know what? You don't know him. And then he looks at me and goes, but you know what? Maybe they do know you. I just love that scene, but look at it. It's such a great scene. And it's just like, I think it gets to the point where finally they're like, wow, they were all right about you. Eventually. This is Russ.
Hey guys, this is Russ from Rochester, New York, calling about the episode Tempest, which is one of my all-time favorite episodes. At the time when you guys filmed that episode, was it already a done deal that John Glover was going to be joining the cast full-time for season 2? Considering he was only a guest star in season 1, I was wondering if they were actually considering killing Lionel off that early, if Glover hadn't wanted to keep coming back. Obviously, I'm glad he signed on full-time and stuck around. The show wouldn't have been the same if we'd lost Lionel after only a season.
Great question. I think that they had no choice. Eventually, they're just like, this guy, we're going to lose him. He's going to get a play. He's going to get another movie. He's going to get something. And this guy elevates the show. He elevates the show. We need him on the show. And they didn't have a hand. They didn't have a say. They had to just let it happen.
If you don't have Lionel Luthor, Lex Luthor's character and presence is diminished.
It is.
In a sense that there's no cap on him, like there's nothing for him to fight against. He's just Lionel Luthor himself.
Yeah.
I think they probably knew they wanted him back, but I'm sure, like I said before, the contract wasn't signed because they didn't offer it because that's what happens. But we needed him for sure.
You know what I think happened? I think they knew that we need Glover. And we have to get rid of one cast member to be able to afford this. And they got rid of Whitney. They said he's the most expendable. And let's sign on John Glover. Because we don't have enough money. And I bet that was not that Whitney was great. Eric was great, but John really elevated the show when we needed him. He was an integral part of the show. Whitney was just the boyfriend who was good. Anyway, last question. Here it is, Sid. That's my theory, but I could be wrong. Let's see what Al says. Well, season 1, season 2.
Hey guys, this is Sid from Ontario, Canada. My question is for the season 1 finale, Tempest. We know Lionel ended up surviving because Lex saved him. However, was it always planned that Lionel would live? We see Lex hesitate. Did the writers perhaps toy with the idea of turning Lex evil earlier than expected, rather than allowing him to toe the line of good and evil for a few more seasons?
Look, I'll answer that.
That was going to be my question, actually.
There's no way that Lex was going to let his father die, because that would be, now Lex is bad. He's evil starting season 2. And where do you go from there? Killing your father. It took me till the end of the show for certain shit to happen. That's my theory. There was no way that I was going to kill my father that early on in the show.
Have you ever heard the theory save the cat?
Yeah, of course. I've read the book.
Okay. So that would have been kill the cat.
Mm-hmm.
Once you save the cat, you're the hero. You kill that cat.
Yeah. You don't like
You're
him
done.
anymore. You don't like him anymore. You have like you want to like the character, save the cat kind of theory. Like right away. Okay. I like this guy. That's the save the cat theory. Wow. that is it for part 1.
I love that you had so much going on for this episode.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun
You had
watching
a lot going
that.
on. Yeah.
But we all did. We all had a lot going on. There was a lot.
No,
at
but I mean,
stake.
you in this podcast, you had a lot of questions, a lot of opinions, a lot of thoughts.
Yeah.
It was fun to see.
I really, really enjoyed it. It made me proud. It made me go, I love Smallville.
I'm going to go to the Louvre with Chris. Let's
Yeah.
go.
I mean, it did. It made me go, this is why people like the show. There's episodes where you go, this is why they liked me and Tom and Kristen and Allison and all these characters and John, Lionel, because they're so, they grow on you. They're part of you, and it's always fun to have a character. It's a necessity. It doesn't always happen, but when you have a character that has an arc, and I was lucky enough to have the biggest arc on the show as a character. Well, you and I both. You evolved into Superman. I evolved into evil. So we both had this big arc. And if you don't have an arc like that, it's not as interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I think yours was more interesting only because my character was always so reluctant and your character was so active.
Yeah.
And I always thought that was interesting.
I always thought that they were going to fire me. I've talked about this before.
Anxiety.
I just never had I just couldn't believe I was cast as this guy. I mean, I had done drama and theater but a lot of comedies.
You tried to do some comedies.
I tried to do some comedies, and I just thought, I'm going to be a comedian. I'm going to be in funny movies. I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to have a career in comedy. But I never thought that anyone would take me seriously to play a dramatic role. And this changed everyone's opinion, including mine. It made me believe in myself that I could be a dramatic actor. That was cool. I never thought I could be subtle, quiet, methodical, meticulous, all these things. Brilliant. as like playing a smart character is what I meant. But anyway, that's it for the episode so far. Remember, this is part 1 of a special finale 2-parter that we're doing. Next week, we're going to give our final score on Tempest, talk to one of the most requested guests we've been asked to have on, and then do a fun little wrap up to the first season of Smallville. So make sure you tune in next week. You won't want to miss it. Make sure you subscribe. Join Patreon, patreon.com/talkville. Help the show out. And as always, let's take the discussion online. Let us know your thoughts on the episode over at our socials, at Talkville Podcast or at Talkville Pod.
Thank you for having me.
And remember, fellas, always hold on to Smallville. All right, we'll see you soon. Let's do this. Guys, what would it be without us giving shout outs to our top tier patrons? They make the show possible. They really do. Couldn't do it without them, Tommy.
That's true. That's the only reason we're here.
Go to patreon.com/talkville and support the podcast if you can. Anything helps. We appreciate it. Let's give these. And by the way, thanks again. This is it. This is the finale. This is the last shout out for a little while. We'll be back. But
by the way, tune in for the watch that we did.
Oh, yeah.
The rewatch in live one. That's only for you guys.
It wasn't live, but it was live for us when we watched the finale.
Yeah.
You'll see it. It's only for patrons. You'll see it. It's a special treat for you guys. All right, here are the top tiers. Tom, take us off.
Nikki G, Leanne P, Raj C, Janine R, Santiago M, Leah S, Little Lisa, Tom T, Sophie M, BetsyD, Liliana. Always. It's only been 22 episodes. Liliana A, Abhi P, Chris F, Farley, Kimberly E, Michael H, Raj H,
Karen, Ray H. You mess Ray's name up every time.
Well, it's confusing. Ray H, Karen M, Danielle B, 99 more, Liliani.
No, Lilani. Lilani.
So it's Lilani and Liliana?
Yes. Lilani N. Catherine P, Brett G, Super Sam, always hold on to Smallville, Jeff E, Estevan G, DJ Kento T, Garrett W, Kimberly L, Teresa, Justin S, Tom N, Tony V, Rodolfo V, Jason W, Osama A, Nancy D, Brian G.
Sarah W, Artoon K, Justin and Lucy O.
Yeah.
Grape Jelly 817, Jeremy G, Amanda R, Teddy 127, Michael P, Theo M, Ryan R, Grumpyitis, Michael Rosenbaum, Jordan M. Wow, he's a patron. Hillary B, The Blur, Craig G, Christy R, Pollyanna, Karen P, Derek G.
Jarrell. Richard S., Heather, and Greg, Nico P. I made Smallville say butts. Brian H., Jason M., Georgina B., Eric K., Kristen B., Kevin E., Craig, Nanine W., Stephanie K., Darth Achilles, Richard R., Finky, Kenny S., Sydney S., Tito G., Remix 7, Stephen F., damn, who's that? Janetta E., Deadvid, Allison H., General Zod, Amara, and Ev. Tom, take the last batch.
I love that we both have two that always stumble us. Theodore, It's Kitty, Crack, Drew M, Connor M, Achilles R, Big D in the house tonight, Andrew B, John Glover's Luscious Mane.
Luscious Mane. That's a new one. John Glover's Luscious Mane.
John Glover's a patron. That's cool. Doug R, Stone H, I'm sure you are, Isabel, and Gabe V.
We don't know what to say, but thanks again. Hope you enjoyed this season. And,
we made it.
We made it. We love you. Make sure you go to the cons. If there's cons coming up, look on our Twitters or Instagrams. Follow us. Write a review. Subscribe. Get other people to watch. And we'll see you soon. Tommy.
Thanks, guys.